Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the final day of weekend 1 of the Modern Warfare 2 beta. I've played this game a ton over the course of the past weekend. I've got a real feel for what the game is like, and in my previous videos, of course, I covered the negative stuff. We as humans like to look at what's negative, and people like to hear what is wrong with the game. If you look at it, man, if I make a video saying, here's everything I love about Modern Warfare 2, and then make a video of everything I hate about Modern Warfare 2, guess which one's going to get more attention, right? That's just the very nature of us as human beings, I suppose. But the focus of this video here today is actually what I like about Modern Warfare 2, because there is a number of good improvements here. I do feel as though the game has a pretty solid foundation. By this point, during the Call of Duty Vanguard beta, I was going off the deep end thinking this is like the worst freaking game ever, and I'm not having that same experience this year, so that's a positive. I also enjoyed the game a lot more than I did Modern Warfare 2019, and while I do believe the Black Ops Cold War was pretty underrated, it was pretty devoid of content, which is not a problem we're going to have in this year's game. So overall, we are set up for some success here with Modern Warfare 2. The question is, how is it going to play out during weekend 2, and how is it going to play out during the full launch, then over the course of the next 2 years? Because again, I say it every video, this is going to be a 2-year COD, and a lot can happen in that time. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. First things first, the game looks beautiful. I am playing on a PS5 to be fair, but there is a video out there, there's actually several. The one I saw was from CodGo619 that compares the PS4 graphics to the PS5 graphics, and while yes, the PS4 is obviously dated looking, and there's going to be some stability issues and frame drops and things like that, the game still does look pretty good. If there's one thing Infinity Ward does right, it's their visuals, man. The game looks incredible. I'll also say that it feels incredible. As you're running around, the movement does feel very good. The audio is on point, a little bit too on point with the footsteps, but this is a positive video. We're not talking about footsteps here today, but the audio is very good. The weapons sound fantastic. They feel really good as well, and the kill streaks are strong. So from a gameplay perspective, a couple of balance tweaks, and I feel as though we have a really good game here. It just, there's a number of things I feel as though are not currently balanced as good as they could be. And again, I'm not going to focus too much on the negatives here in this video. I've covered them to death in my previous videos, but yeah, the core foundation of the game, pretty damn solid. Good job, Infinity Ward. The perk system, I don't personally hate it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think it's the worst system in the world. It's definitely a situation of them reinventing the wheel, and I'm not entirely sure why they're doing it. I have seen some people online saying that the new perk system kind of ruins it if you get thrown into a game late, which is pretty common. I mean, every single lobby disbands after the game is over, so it's pretty common for you to jump into a new match, get thrown into a game late, and people are saying, well, how am I supposed to get my ultimate perk if I join a game late and it's about over? Well, from my perspective, and from what I've seen so far, I cannot guarantee this is how this works. This is just my own personal experiences. It seems like sometimes when I join a game late, and let's say we're a couple minutes into the match, they'll give me my third perk right away, and then after a couple of kills, I seem to get my ultimate perk pretty quickly as well, because keep in mind, those perks are on a timer. Your bonus perk comes in 4 minutes into the match, no matter what, and your ultimate perk comes in 8 minutes into the match, no matter what, and that's, of course, accelerated by when you actually get kills, play the objective, earn score, and things like that. I think they said something like every 10 points of score shaves 1 second off that time, so if you're popping off really early in the match, you get your bonus perk pretty quickly, and then your ultimate perk subsequently. But it is a weird situation where if you join a game late, you don't have any score, and then your progress towards the bonus perk and your progress towards the ultimate perk are only adjusted by how many seconds have gone by in the actual match itself, which is definitely pretty weird. So it's an odd system. This is weekend 1 of the beta. Weekend 2, they may adjust it. Again, we are about a month away from launch here, so I don't think they're going to be doing any sweeping overarching changes, but the system is interesting. I don't hate it, but again, it's a weird system of them reinventing the wheel, and honestly, we're just gonna have to wait and see what they have in store for us. I mean, apparently they've been working on this game for 3 years. You would think they have an idea of what they want to do with this system and how it's going to work when it's fully fleshed out in the live version of the game that we get on October 28th. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to be great, but we're going to have to wait and see. Weapon platforms. I actually think this is pretty cool. When I first got into the idea of weapon platforms, I was confused, and rightly so. We were all pretty confused because it's difficult to understand, and the menus are, it's a positive video, but the UI menus like are atrocious. Like, they're really weird to navigate. Not really a big fan. They really need to update that. But once you kind of understand how weapon platforms work and how you can take your M4 and turn that into the Recon, and turn the Recon into the Hurricane, then turn your Hurricane into the Icarus, then turn your Icarus into an M16, I think that's actually really cool. It's a very interesting way to go about things. games, and most importantly, it encourages variety, which is so needed in the COD community. I mean, at this time last year, when we were playing the Vanguard beta, everybody and their mother is using only the STG and only the MP40. That's just how it was, right? And not much has changed ever since the beta, right? Whereas in this game, sure, there are going to be meta weapons. People are going to figure out which guns are the best and so on and so forth, but you don't just unlock your weapons in a traditional way anymore. You unlock certain weapons in a traditional way just by leveling up, but a lot of other weapons, like I said, if you want the M16, you have to take the M4, get the M4 up to like level 14 to unlock the Recon, then level up the Recon to get the Hurricane, then level up the Hurricane to get the Icarus LMG, and then level up the Icarus LMG to finally then unlock the M16. So if the M16 becomes meta, for example, which I really don't think it's going to, but if the M16 becomes meta, every new player, every casual player, every hardcore player, they're going to have to level up 5 different guns to get to that point. So there's a feeling of progression there, and you guys know me, I am so into progression in video games, and this is an interesting way of going about it. So again, not much is available to us here in weekend 1 of the betas. We don't know exactly how the system is going to play out long term, but based on what we have so far, I kind of really like it. It's an interesting way of going about things, and being able to unlock certain attachments, for example, for your M4 platform that you can use later on when you finally unlock the M16 is nice, and it cuts down on the weapon attachment grind, which was one of my biggest gripes with the past couple years of games, where you're just grinding through weapon levels, unlocking attachments you don't even care about. Well, now you're unlocking some of those attachments while using other weapons, and that feels good because you don't have to work through that particular attachment once you get to the next gun, so that feels pretty good. Speaking of leveling up weapons, weapon XP has been pretty fast here during the beta. That could change during the full launch of the game. They may just be giving us faster weapon XP just to kind of make sure we can have a feel for the game's attachments and properly test out the beta, but the weapon XP feels pretty good. The actual XP of leveling up your character also feels good. Progression looks clean in this game, I will say that, though we don't know exactly how progression is going to work long term. We do know how the perk system works. We do have an idea of how weapon platforms are going to work and unlocking attachments and unlocking new guns via the weapon platforms, but looking at the game's UI itself, we have these ranks. I don't believe they're called military ranks, but we do have these ranks, and every rank you unlock a different gun or a different piece of equipment or whatever. We don't know about Prestige Mode, guys. That's the big thing. We don't know if Prestige Mode is going to be coming back. It needs to be. How can they get up there on stage in front of millions of people at COD Next and be like, we've learned a lot from the past, we've heard your feedback? Dude, people want Prestige Mode back. Like, you look at any poll online, it's like 95% yes. And the other 5% are just Joe Secod on his alt accounts or something like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, everyone wants normal, traditional Prestige Mode to come back. Here in the beta, we do have daily challenges, which are very similar to what we've seen in the previous number of games, and we do have a challenge section in the main menu, though it is completely blocked off and we can't see what the challenges actually are. But I do truly hope that with this year's game, we have a very fleshed out, amazing challenge and progression system. They've already talked about how Warzone 2 is going to have quests and things for you to do besides just winning. Well, we want that in the multiplayer as well. Leveling up guns is fine. Sure, getting into attachments and camos, sure, that's fine. But a lot of us, myself included, maybe I'm a bit biased here, but I really like going for 100%er. I want to do every challenge in the game's multiplayer. I want to have rewards for doing those challenges, and not just a calling card. I want an operator for doing every single challenge in the game. That looks freaking incredible. You know, I talked about it so many times in the past, but in a game like Black Ops Cold War, where they didn't even have 100%er, they took a couple of shop bundles and they put them out there. They sold them for like 25 bucks a piece, and those should have been in the multiplayer. If you did every challenge in the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, imagine if you got the numbers skin, which again, they just put in the shop for $25, but back in Blackout, you could earn the numbers skin for an individual specialist by doing specific challenges within Blackout. There was some progression there and it felt really good, and the skin looked incredible. Would have been awesome if they gave that to players who did 100% of the challenges in the game's multiplayer, so when you load into a match, you see a guy with that numbers skin, you're like, holy shit, that dude's got no life, and that's what you want to hear as the person who got 100%er. You know, you want to stand out, you want to look unique. How many other games out there is there a system where players can grind and grind and grind and do these ridiculously hard challenges and actually show off that they have done those things within the game? They're talking about uniting the COD community. Well, this is what we need within the community. And going back to Cold War, there was that one bundle in the shop, I forget the name of it, but it looked really cool, and this is what they should have given killing people for getting 100%er within zombies, right? So when you load into a multiplayer match, you're playing Search and Destroy, you see a dude wearing that outfit, you're like, wow, that dude, not only is he pretty good at multiplayer, but he's done every challenge in zombies as well. Like, that kind of stuff is so cool, and that used to be a core staple of video games back in the day, but now they just sell you cool looking cosmetics, and they don't really care about challenges because the devs don't do challenges themselves. You know, it is what it is. You show me one dev, I will eat crow if you show me one COD developer that earned dark matter legitimately in any game at all. It doesn't happen. They just don't do it. You know, they're lucky if they hit first prestige. So yeah, progression so far does look pretty good, but we're gonna have to wait and see what the actual game's progression is going to be like during the full launch of Modern Warfare 2. The new game modes, I will say, not too shabby. You guys have been seeing some third-person gameplay here today. Third person's actually pretty damn fun. I enjoy it. Like, it's a new twist on the game. You have things like prisoner rescue. There's a couple of new game modes that they added here during the beta. Typically, new game modes don't overly go well, but I'm happy that they're trying out new things, because, you know, if Infinity Ward didn't try out Kill Confirmed back during the release of Modern Warfare 3, we wouldn't have one of the most beloved game modes in Call of Duty, right? So when they try new things, sure, game modes like Heist from Black Ops 4 don't really stick around. No one really cares. But when they add things back like third person, which we haven't had since the original Modern Warfare 2, and then you add a new game mode like Prisoner Rescue, which is a kind of a twist on Search and Destroy in some respects, like, having that variety there is nice. And speaking of variety, even though this wasn't particularly part of the beta, Modern Warfare 2 is going to be a huge game. You have campaign, you have multiplayer. They announced that Spec Ops is going to be returning. It's going to be an asymmetrical kind of Spec Ops. So what they mean by that is a lot of the missions, it's meant to be played with two people. So you and a random person online, or you and a buddy, are going to be playing the game, and a lot of the missions will have like one person in the sky and one person on the ground. You guys have to work together to get through the mission. Hopefully there's going to be some good rewards for going through Spec Ops. Now, on top of that, we have Warzone 2, and then we have DMZ, which is going to be part of Warzone 2. So there's going to be a lot to this game. Like, honestly, like, people may look at me as like a bit of a cynic sometimes, but I do think there is a lot of potential here with Modern Warfare 2. I do have gripes with balancing in certain respects, mostly the stupid footsteps, but a lot about this game is good. And I'm excited to see what weekend 2 of the beta is going to be like. I'm going to continue playing here during weekend 1, and I'm most excited for the full launch of the game, so we can finally, like, there's nothing quite like release night on a brand new COD. You know what I mean? Like, you get on there, you know, you may have some friends in Discord waiting for you. You make sure the game's all installed, all your shaders are in there, you got the current graphics driver, and you're ready to go. You jump in, you get into your first match, you get into your first gunfight, you see the progression, you start working on camos for the first gun you decide you like, you start leveling up a little bit, you work towards your kill streaks, you end up getting a care package, you call in an AC-130 that you got from the care package, you're like, holy shit, this is nuts. Like, opening day, like opening week, even opening month for a COD game is always fun, regardless of how the game turns out long term. But here's the hope, that Modern Warfare 2 is fun past that honeymoon phase, which I should say, we are pretty much still in that honeymoon phase, but we've also had the game for like 3 days now, so it's waning off, but I'm still enjoying the game for what it is. So good news there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. That's pretty much it. Those are the positives of Modern Warfare 2's beta here during weekend 1. Of course, I do a video every single day here on the channel, so be sure to subscribe if you guys are new around here. And we are just going to basically be chilling until weekend 2 of the beta, where hopefully we get different multiplayer maps. Hopefully they give us an update on the Marina Bay Grand Prix map and what's going on with the legal issues between Activision and Formula 1. And hopefully there's more guns to unlock, more things to try out, and more things to do in weekend 2. And then, of course, we'll be, you know, full speed ahead until the full launch on October 28th. But guys, that's it for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you're new around here, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.